How many times does someone typically see an ad before they purchase something from an e-commerce brand?
Ad is probably like 1/10 of the touch point that the customer's going to have with your business. I've been there the whole way, from 0 to 1 million to 100 million. And that's the whole learning experience for me. It's like understanding what have these clients done? What have they done to get to this point? And then building services around that, which I can then help other clients to achieve the same thing.
What is the weirdest product your team has helped market for a client?
We had someone that had a speaker which you put under your pillow and you can listen to music the whole night while you sleep.
How did that sell? Was it a good seller or no?
It sounds really good and you're like, wow, this doesn't exist out there. I've found a gap and I'm solving a problem, but your addressable market isn't actually that large. Like you're looking for people that want to listen to music while they sleep.
Let's go back to how you got into marketing and what was it that got you into specifically working with e-commerce brands?
It's a funny story. I was very technical growing up and I had quite a technical degree as well. I studied information systems. So I understood programming and I understood coding, but I've always been super curious about technology and there was an itch that I had to scratch. So when I was kind of exploring opportunities after I graduated, I looked into a range of different industries and roles. But what really caught my eye was digital marketing. And it was because a friend of mine actually introduced me to the world of website development. So he taught me how to create a website using WordPress, how to run advertising campaigns on Facebook and Google. From there, I was able to actually help my mum, who at the time had a really cool home business. She ran a wellness center. So, I got my video camera and I was like, call one of your clients in. I'll take a video of you, performing the treatment that you usually do. And I did that. And then I set up these advertising campaigns on Facebook. And within a couple of days, her calendar was fully booked. Like she had all of these leads coming in, all of these inquiries coming in for the business. That just made me feel really good. Like, wow, I'm making a real impact to someone's life. It happened to be my mum, so that made it twice as good. But I felt like if I could make impacts for different people, that would be really awesome. So I studied into digital marketing and figured out this whole world. I created her website. I did her SEO optimization. I ran her ads on Facebook. I looked at Google ads, basically everything. And I became like a marketing jack of all trades over my final year of university. So when it came time to graduate and find a job, I applied for a bunch of digital marketing agencies. I ended up working for a small local marketing agency in Surrey Hills in Sydney. They had a range of different clients, but then one business that was coming up was e-commerce brands. And at the time, this was very early, like Shopify had just released and it hadn't IPO'd or anything. It was very early days and a few of our clients had Shopify websites. So I worked with them and I launched their advertising campaigns. I ran their email marketing. I did their website optimization and I just really fell in love with Shopify. I grew a bunch of different brands from 0 to 50 to 100 to 200K per month. And I realized that, this was really enjoyable for me. I got to flex my creative muscles and my technical muscles. And from there, I decided to just fully specialize in e-commerce. And that's where we are today.
I love that it started with your mom. That's really cool. I love the whole concept. I had another guy, he does digital marketing for home service businesses. And the way that he got into it was because he was doing really well with his home service businesses. And his boss was like, dude, you're way too good at this. You need to go start your own company and do this.
That's
And
how it
like
starts
he
a lot
did,
of times with digital marketers, actually. Like they're doing it for themselves, but then they enjoy the marketing component more than the actual business. So they just get into the marketing side.
yeah, I can even say that for myself, like the whole reason that I started this particular business was because I was making videos for myself and people kept asking me on LinkedIn, like, how do you do this for your videos? How do you do this for your videos? How do you do this for your videos? And I was like, man, there's a real market on LinkedIn for videos. So talk to me about e-commerce brands. What is kind of unique about the e-commerce market that you really like?
I'm probably biased, but I feel like it's actually considered more difficult than marketing a service-based business or any other business. And that's because the customer journey is very different. Like if you have a service-based business, you're marketing the service that you're going to provide, and then the outcome that you're looking for is a lead, which is like their name, email, and their phone number. Like they're sending an inquiry. And that's pretty much it. It's low touch. The person doesn't have to overthink it. They're not actually putting their, money or anything down like that. It's just, I want to send an inquiry. Let me see what happens. With e-commerce, like there are, pop-ups and you're getting people's emails and you're building a database. But the core of it is we want to take the customer from not knowing you to trusting you so much that they take out their wallet, they pull out their credit card, they put the number in, and they actually make a transaction. Like they're physically purchasing something, right? And that's a pretty big commitment. So e-commerce marketing oftentimes is considered like quite complex and quite difficult because you've got a much extended customer journey and you're trying to get an outcome from them that is a lot longer than just an inquiry or just a lead. And that's actually the aspect that I enjoy a lot, seeing sales come in and knowing that you've taken this customer from basically never seeing this brand before to seeing an ad on Facebook or Instagram, like they were just scrolling, and your ad intrigued them and created that curiosity to the point where they were like, let me check this website. And then you created a website experience that was, so good to the point where the customer was like, wow, I am convinced I must buy this product. And they literally go online, and there's a multi-step process. Like they're adding to their cart, they're going to checkout, they have to fill in their name, their email, they have to put in their shipping details, they have to put in their card details, and then they have to trust you to transact and to purchase. Like the whole customer experience, the whole brand building experience is very different, because now it's not just, oh, we do a service, here's our reviews, we're in your local area. It's like, we're global. We have this brand, here's the people we've collaborated with. Here's some of the reviews from our products. Here's why it's really awesome. Here's the advertising. Here's the whole journey we're going to take you on. And then you're going and you're purchasing, and then you're coming back and you're buying again and again and again from never having known this product. So I just find that whole customer journey fascinating. And there's so many different aspects to it. Like there's, marketing, there's Facebook ads, there's Google ads, there's your branding, your website, your social media, everything. And just over the years, I've gotten to a point where I really understand that entire customer journey end to end, at least the customer facing marketing aspect of it. And I guess that's one of my next steps now, is to look at what does the rest of that customer experience look like, and what happens after they purchase. And then also looking at how can we take this customer experience to the next level with all the new technology we have coming in AI. So it's a pretty exciting time.
You talked about like the customer journey, right? I never even thought about it.
Mm.
Everybody is trying to get leads. Like usually, like in my world, everybody online is trying to get leads. Like nobody is actually
Yeah.
trying to basically make a sale, right? There's usually, some nurturing that typically happens that kind of doesn't happen in e-commerce, right? So
Yeah.
talk me through the customer journey. Like how many times does someone typically see an ad before they purchase something from an e-commerce brand on average?
I mean, like there's unlimited numbers, and it depends on what you're selling and what type of business you have. Like the more expensive your product is, the higher priced it is, the more they're going to need to see your content, or at least the more research they're going to need to do in terms of who they're choosing to trust. So for example, if I'm buying $100 product, you might need to see 3 or 4 different ads, and you might be convinced that, cool, this sounds like it solves my problem and I'm going to purchase it. But if you're buying, say, an e-bike, we have a client that sells e-bikes. That's going to be a lot longer journey. Like, for you to spend $1,000 and that to spend it online, you're going to need to have a lot of trust with the business. So not even so much as how many times do I need to see an ad. It's almost like how many times do I need to go to your website, check out what products you have, look at all your reviews, look at all the different touch points that you have. And it's a lot more than ads. Like ads is probably like 1/10 of the touch point that the customer is going to have with your business. They're going to look at your website. They're going to sign up for your email list. They're going to go on Google and they're going to look at your reviews. They're going to look at the reviews on your website. They're going to go on your social media. They're going to go on your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok. What are you posting? What are your competitors posting? Are your posts better than your competitors? For that type of product where it's more than $200, like there's a lot of research the customer's going to do to decide. And then sometimes not only are they deciding this is a product I want, this is a brand I want, they're deciding where do I get it from. And so you've got all these channels that they have to decide. They're going to go on every single one. If I'm buying in store, is it near me? And if it's not, then I have to buy online. And then if I'm buying online, who am I buying online from? So, they could be like 100 considerations and touch points for someone making that type of purchase. It's impossible to say.
Who is a company that's inspired you?
There's a lot of them. I'd say, someone like some of the brands that have IPO'd and are now on the stock exchange, I think those are always impressive. That started off from, like Allbirds. They started off from a Kickstarter campaign, literally a crowdfunding campaign, and then became this huge global multi-billion dollar brand to the point where they're listed. And seeing that whole journey from, we have this idea, building the product, creating your website, driving online customers, driving retail, and then just being everywhere. Obviously, that is super inspiring. And then I have a few clients that I'm really inspired by. So someone like EHP Labs. This is a supplement company that's started in Australia, but now they're globally in every single supplement store around the world, pretty much. From Walmart and Target and all the way to Australia 7-Eleven and every single petrol pump. And then there's a few brands where I've seen and I've been there for the whole way, from 0 to 1 million to 100 million. And those are brands like Georgie Main, which is a hair care brand that I've been working with from the start, like seeing that growth. And then brands like Bungie, which is a baby skincare brand, where basically I've been there from really, really early days. And that's the whole learning experience for me. It's like understanding what have these clients done? What have they done to get to this point? And then building services around that, which I can then help other clients to achieve the same thing. And that's how a lot of my development has happened in terms of my own business, which is like, cool, I know that this service works. So, I worked an agency before I built my own business. I had a few services that I knew worked. But then when I worked with my own clients, I saw all of these other things they were doing. They were doing financial planning, they were doing all this daily reporting, they were doing profitability management, they were running ads across all these channels, they had a retail presence, they were creating content in unique ways. And I looked at these things and I thought, cool, how can I build really strong services around that to help clients deliver it and basically achieve those levels of growth as well?
What is the weirdest product that your team has helped market for a client?
I wouldn't say it's really weird, but there's always interesting kind of niche products that we want to try. We had someone that had a speaker which you put under your pillow and it kind of creates sounds and you can listen to music the whole night while you sleep. And so it was like an under pillow speaker.
How did that sell? Was it a good seller or no?
Not exactly, I guess. People were kind of like, with these products, it sounds really good, and you're like, wow, this doesn't exist out there. I've found a gap, and I'm solving a problem. But your addressable market isn't actually that large. Like, firstly, you're looking for people that want to listen to music while they sleep, which already brings you down to a small market. And then you've got people that don't want to use their phone for some reason for that functionality, which obviously already exists. Don't want to use an existing speaker for that functionality. They just want something specifically that fits in their pillow really nicely. So it's a very small addressable market. And then you're trying to convince them that, this is the perfect product. So it becomes quite difficult. You'll get to a certain point, like you might go from 0 to 10K to 50K per month. But then if you're addressing a small market, especially something like Australia, where there's already, we don't have a huge population, like we're 1/10 of the US, for example, it's not easy to advertise that and present it as a real problem solver. And that's kind of sometimes the issue with these super innovative products. They're almost too innovative to the point where the addressable market is so small.
Yo, I just wanted to take a very quick break in the action here because I just realized something crazy. 85% of the people that are watching our videos on YouTube are not subscribed. This is what happens when you actually get smart people to look into your analytics. So if you are enjoying this content and you want more practical advice and tips on how to grow your brand and your business with video, please hit the subscribe button. I do truly appreciate it. And let's get back into the interview. What is the most exciting one that you feel like you've worked on?
A new business that I'm working with, it's a dog bowl, a dog slow feeder. And the reason it's exciting to me is because I have a dog and then my dog like inhales his food. When I saw this product, I was like, wow, does this really work? And is it going to do the job? So I actually purchased the product and I tested it myself with my dog. And yeah, look, his eating time went from literally 20 seconds to like 10 minutes. And I was like, wow, that really works. And in that process, I also understood like what are the problems that we're solving. Like there are, emergency situations that can happen if your dog eats their food too fast. And also the product was super innovative. Like the bowl is kind of nothing like any other slow feeder bowl that you've seen. It's not like circular and it doesn't like slide around. And the business owner has thought about every single problem that people are having with slow feeders and dog bowls and basically solve that to create a perfect product. So for me, I'm like, wow, this is innovative. I need to like promote this and I need to make this work. So we're currently running a bunch of different campaigns. We've created like 100 different videos and graphics and statics and an awesome landing page for them. And yeah, we're trying to grow this thing.
That's awesome. That definitely sounds like a fun one. What are some of the things that you're adapting to and what are some of the things that you see coming?
I mean, the whole marketing landscape is changing all the time because customers' mindset shifts as they get smarter and as new things come out. So, we saw a whole shift towards short form video when TikTok really took off. Before Instagram and Facebook, they were more longer form videos. Like you could have a nice 1 or 2 minute video ad and that would do really well. But then once the TikTok came in and everyone's kind of attention span went from 2 minutes to 2 seconds. So the whole marketing landscape literally had to shift for that. Like now people are expecting some crazy videos that are like super exciting, super engaging, that hook them immediately. And you've got like 3 seconds to get their attention. The only creatives we're looking to create is really strong hooks, short form videos. The ad shouldn't really be longer than 30 seconds. And then you take them to the web page, which is going to be what actually educates them, shows them the product and convinces them. So that whole landscape has shifted. Then you've got things like, well, marketers really ruin everything. So when email marketing came out, we'd have 99% open rates. Everyone will open your email. Everyone would click the link that you gave them. And then it was just kind of, now everyone gets emails and it's immediately just marked as read. You don't even open these emails. It goes to spam, it goes to promotion. So then we got SMS marketing, but now people are kind of getting annoyed with that as well. Now we're doing things like sending out postcards. So the whole landscape is changing every single year.
That came back full circle because that's probably where
Oh
it
yeah,
started.
exactly. Exactly. You go back to the old school methods. And I'm sure we'll have the same thing with email where people will start sending really nice crafted emails that people will want to open. I think obviously the shift we have right now is AI. Like, how can we leverage AI to get speed to market? We can create all of these messages, all of these creatives, all of these ads that would have taken us a week to do 10 good ads. We can now do in half an hour. We're already leveraging some of those tools. Like if we've got a product and we want to say something, we don't need to send it to someone to do a voice script. We can actually use AI, have a voiceover that sounds very natural, and we can test that angle. And maybe we'll test 100 different messages and hooks because it's so fast and easy to do. And once we figure out what works, then we'll go ahead and send it to creators. So it kind of has streamlined that entire process. Obviously, AI text and copy is really important. Building messages, building landing pages, briefing your video editors, your writers, and everything. And we're getting to the point where you can basically almost create videos now. You can have a model, you can give them your product, make them hold it. I'm quite excited for that. And that's something that I'm really focused on staying on top of and leveraging. I feel like the Australian market, especially, is often quite slow in picking up and building and adapting to these things. So I'm kind of trying to stay ahead of the curve, look at what the rest of the world is doing, stay up to date with it.
How do you stay on top of all this stuff?
With every service that I've kind of built for the agency, I'm really specific about it. I'm very particular. I want it done in the right way and the best way. So oftentimes when we decide to do a new service, I will personally go in and master that service. Like I will figure out how to edit the best videos. I will figure out how to create landing pages and what needs to be done end to end. I'll figure out how to contact UGC creators and brief them before we release that as a service. I'll become an expert in Facebook ads, in Google ads, in TikTok ads, in Snapchat ads, in web development, in everything. And that's when we will be able to launch that service. And it's the same with AI. Like I'm very deep in the weeds in terms of, okay, what are the capabilities of these systems? What can we do? And what can we replicate for every single client? So I make sure that I actually go in and learn it because that's going to be the best way for me to confidently deliver that as a service and be able to speak to clients. Another thing is it's honestly, it's just an expectation now. Like there is enough buzz about AI where clients are asking us, hey, how are you leveraging AI? In terms of staying up to date, like there is so much information out there, but I try to stay specific. I don't want to know every single application of AI, which, at a high level I do, but for me, it's like, how is AI impacting marketing? How is it impacting creative strategy? How is it impacting advertising? So there's a bunch of key influencers, generally around the world, US, UK, who are creating a lot of really quality content. I'm very diligent about following those good ones. A lot of them have newsletters, so I would join all of their newsletters and they send it out multiple times a week and I make sure that I go in and read them and understand them. I've got a tab in my Gmail that's like AI newsletters and they share really good content that's completely relevant to my industry, which I stay up to date with. I test, I implement. Obviously, I've got my subscriptions to all the AI tools and I'm constantly testing it and also just using it in my day-to-day life. Like how can AI do things that I want to do? And once I understand all of those use cases, I can go ahead and figure out, okay, how do we use this for clients?
Have you seen anybody in the e-commerce space that is doing a lot of this founder-led marketing, doing that successfully?
It's actually really big in the e-commerce space. And a lot of the times it's similar to having a service business in that sense where customers are so smart and they're so used to just seeing branded ads and content. They want to know now, who are they buying from? And can they actually trust that person? I think typically it's been a brand will partner with someone in the space that's an influencer. Like obviously you've got the Kardashians. They all have their own brands and they are the faces of those brands. You've got a lot of people that like, you've got Kanye who's done Yeezys. When you look at the background though, that's more of a partnership. It's not like he built that brand. It's Adidas coming in and partnering with him. And so when you have an influencer relationship with a brand, that's typically worked really well because you're using the trust of that influencer, of that subject matter expert, or you're using their audience who really follows them and is loyal to them to create that credibility for your brand. But now I think going deeper, it's like people don't mind. You don't have to be a celebrity to have a huge brand. You can just be the everyday person that's decided to start this to solve a problem. And I've seen a lot of brands that are doing that. We have a lot of actually clients that went on Shark Tank Australia and we had a relationship with Davey Fogarty, one of the judges. So a lot of the investments that he did in season one, he actually referred to us to run the ads for those brands. And a lot of those are, of course, founder-led brands because they've gone on Shark Tank and they've put themselves out there. We've got a skincare brand called Boring Without You, where the founder has his own influencer page, which is Skincare Davey, and he'll create content and he'll review other brands and he'll talk about skincare and actually provide really good education, really good value for people. And then he does have his own brand, which people that trust him and want to support him can go ahead and purchase from him as well. It means that the brand is not reliant on just advertising spend and spending and spending to be able to acquire customers. They can actually organically acquire customers. We've got brands, I have a brand that was on Shark Tank called Cinnamon Cove, where it's created by teenagers, and they went on the show to create swimwear line for teenagers. And that's a founder-led brand where the founders create videos. They try to go viral on Instagram and TikTok. They're also the front face of their advertising, and that works really well. Like, people are seeing the founders, they're loving the message, they're feeling passionate, and they're getting behind that, and then they're going ahead and they're purchasing from the product. So I think people are very open to trusting founders that put their face out there and that say, like, this is my brand, this is why I've built it, this is the reason for our existence, this is our story, this is our manufacturing process, this is the process that we go through to send the product and get it to you, this is our testing process. Like, people love seeing behind the scenes. If I was to launch a brand, I think it would be a similar process, either myself or getting someone in the team that can be the face of the brand and talk to the brand, interact with customers, engage with them, connect with them, be in that community. It's not like you're buying from a brand, it's like you're buying from people now. So I think the community and the audience loves that, and that really accelerates brand growth for brands that do that successfully.
I was looking for some content to make, and I was looking for like kind of gadgets and stuff like that. And I found this gadget which attaches to the back of your iPhone, and it shows like the back facing camera on here so that you could use the good camera and still see yourself. I made a video about it, and I have like a little Amazon store, and 24 people bought it. That piqued my interest in social shopping. What's your thoughts around that?
Social shopping is huge. I mean, this is the next level of influencer marketing, where basically you've got someone that's posting about a product, and then other people are going to trust them and purchase that product, or they just love the way that that person has advertised that product or the use case that they've presented, which is probably what you saw, where you saw the use case and you're like, wow, I need this. I have the exact same problem. And because they've demonstrated it in such a great way, you go ahead and you actually purchase that product, which is essentially what influencer marketing was. Like, hey, can you make a post about this product, show that you use it, and I'll purchase it. Once people became really smart about that, hey, an influencer has been paid to promote this product, social shopping became the more genuine and authentic way to do it, where you haven't actually, maybe you have been paid for it, but it just comes off as really genuine and authentic. And you're not just posting a photo of you looking cool with the product on the side. Like, you're actually showing and demonstrating that product. And people are going to trust that right now, especially if they're followers of yours. But even if they're not followers, they just come across your video, they go on your profile, you have a lot of credibility, you posted a lot of other videos, they trust you, and they decide to purchase that product. But the second thing that's made that huge is TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop is next level, because it's like the whole experience is on TikTok. So you have someone that you follow, or they're on your feed, and they share that product, they talk about it, they show you how to use that product. You click one button, and the next day it's at your door. Like, you've purchased it. You don't even need to go to their website or understand it. You're just like, yep, I want this. You click buy, and there you go. Like, it's delivered. What's also really cool about this, and the reason it's taken off, above and beyond things that Facebook and Instagram have done, is because TikTok has integrated the whole creator landscape. So the ability to find creators, send them your product, communicate with them, give them a commission on the sales that they get, is all integrated within a platform that TikTok has created. So we have brands that are engaging with 5,000 creators every month on TikTok in a really streamlined and simple way, using one platform. Send out the product, TikTok manages the rest. The content gets posted, and you have a whole dashboard where you can see every single content that's been posted. You can see how much revenue each post has generated, because it's all on TikTok, and they've built the dashboard to see that. You can communicate with creators, you can ask them things, you can run the posts as ads to give them extra legs to boost them, and it's all in the platform. So they have basically taken what would have taken several months, to engage that many creators, because you'd have to manually email them, you'd have to get a quote, you'd have to get your rates. They've taken that whole process, and they have made it so streamlined that you can work with thousands of creators. Going back to what we were discussing before, like, marketers ruin everything. I'm probably going to get to a point where people are just going to see through this. They're going to realize creators are getting paid, and they may not be promoting the right products, and you will eventually start buying products, and they won't be like the ones that the creators were promoting. Like, we're going to get to that stage where there's going to be misuse of this system, and unfortunately probably going to get to a point where it's going to get quite saturated. But right now it's a hot space. I mean, TikTok Shop is in the US, it's in UK, it's not even in Australia yet, so we haven't even been able to use it, but I've already started running advertising campaigns on TikTok Shop with brands that we have in the US. But yeah, this is coming, and it's so streamlined, and I'm sure Instagram, Meta have seen this. They're going to implement it as well. So you're going to see it across platforms, millions of people posting about products, getting commissions for it, and also for the brand, making it easy for them, if they do this, to do it at scale.
Well, Manu, man, this was great. I appreciate you hanging out as always. I always learn a lot from you, man. You got amazing, amazing knowledge when it comes to marketing. Obviously, you always got really good client examples. So I know you're cranking them out. You're doing your thing. I appreciate your time as always. Where can people find you? Where's the best place for people to reach out and connect with you?
Well, I try to be everywhere, to be honest. If you just search my name, Manu Verma, or connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email, check out my website, anywhere.
Just like his brands, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
I love it, man.